Today's presentation is on ethics, instructional design, and the biblical worldview. When approaching instructional design, it is important to have a framework in order to access how you are going to be doing the instructional design in the classroom. And it is also important to understand the ethical implications of what might happen inside of the classroom when using items inside of your instructional design. To do that, the lens that we will be focusing on is a biblical worldview lens. The approach taken is the understanding of ethical violations, the biblical approach to that, how to reduce ethical violations, and what does the Bible say about giving yourself over to making sure that you're not violating anything. So, ethical violations. When dealing with instructional design, it is very important. In fact, probably one of the most important things to do is for professionals to always understand their own personal accountability. It is an understatement to say that professionals need to be professional. The article Bridging Theory and Practice deals a lot with this. And inside of that, as professional, it says that in professionals, instructional designers, they're guided by laws, they're guided by ethics, and they are guided by their ability to make sure that they have a certain rules and regulations that exist within those parameters. These things can include within instructional design, they can include copyright laws, plagiarism, and other various ideas. The biggest idea being to not take someone else's work and then pass it off as your own, but rather to adapt the work and not violate the professional standards to which we hold ourselves accountable to as instructional designers. This could be a little bit harder in the world today. In fact, in the article, hashtag facts must fall, education in a post truthful world, one of the elements that is consistently brought up is that truth might not even be truth now. Research is showing that truth is no longer being considered universal, but rather objective in professional circles. This is moving away from the mainstream circles of, you know, entertainment industries and things of that nature, and it's hitting into the professional circle. Regardless of what's happening, though, in the world, truth is truth. And even though we might have access to a wide variety of content and a wide variety of things, um, it is still important to give credit where credit is due and to not pass it off as being something other than what it is. So, what's our biblical answer to violation? The biblical answer comes from 1 Peter 5:8. Reading from the New International Version, it says, "Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour." When going through instructional design and going through ethical standards, it is really important to understand that there are temptations out there to not do the right thing with websites now where teachers have uploaded their own materials and other ideas like that, it is easy to take something and put it up in front of the classroom as part of an instructional design course or put it inside of your learning management system as part of your module and not really give credit to where the credit is this due. And this kind of goes back to this verse: be alert and of sober mind. Be alert to what is happening in the world. Be alert to what is happening inside of education. And always strive to set the highest professional standards, regardless of what is happening or regardless of the temptation that might be present inside of the educational world. So, how do we reduce these ethical violations? Well, first of all, you must understand the rules and the regulations that govern. It's important to understand copyright laws, plagiarism laws. It's important to understand the various types of ways that people might actually be citing information, whether it's in APA for the APA standards, or if it's in MLA, or if it's in Turabian. It's very important to understand your discipline, your area inside of instructional design, and then understand how that regulates it. One of the things that's very important, and Helen Broom and Bruce Maxwell mentioned this in their article, Ethics Education in Australia. One of the things that's highly important is to be able to defend all areas of instructional design against ethical standards and practices. If you're designing something, you should be able to defend that as what you have designed inside of instructional design, especially when it comes to technology. It's no different than writing a dissertation paper or something of that nature. You should be able and willing to defend what is happening. And if you can defend it against ethical standards and practices, then you know that you've done a good job at staying professional inside of instructional design. Quality teaching is not having just good lessons, designing good units, designing a learning management system, or including elements of instructional design inside of technology. That is not equal quality teaching. Rather, quality teaching is modeling for students ethical practices that allow them the chance to see how a teacher gets their information for design. That is quality teaching. Quality teaching will always be modeling for students the best way, the best practices to do something. And if a student sees that a teacher is not giving credit to where they deserve, not following ethical practices inside of their instructional design, then they're likely to not follow that as well. They're likely to say, why do I have to cite my information if my teacher is not, or if the person who's in my classroom presenting a lesson on some other area is not following that practice. So let's understand how God feels. Let's tie this all into the biblical worldview. Second Peter 1:10 says, "Therefore, my brothers and sisters, make every effort to confirm your calling and election. For if you do these things, you will never stumble." And to apply this to ethical practices, we could easily say those who are in education, those who are instructional designers, make every effort to confirm what you are presenting, defend what you are presenting. For if you do that, you will not stumble. You may put up videos inside of your instructional design, your systematic learning approach. You may design a learning management system and have different various modules with videos in there, but never give credit. And you may think that's okay, but all it's going to take is one time, one person who is going to be looking at that management system and wonder why it is that there was no credit given. And you may find yourself stumbling then. You may have set in front of you a stumbling block. But if you follow this, always make every effort to confirm what you are doing. You'll never stumble. And that's the biblical approach, I think, to all of ethical violations that could happen inside the classroom. Always make every effort to make sure you are doing the right thing so that you do not stumble. Other than the scripture verses that are mentioned inside of the presentation, Boone and Maxwell wrote the article Ethics Education in Australian Pre Service Teaching Programs and a Hidden Imperative. That is a great article. Also, the hashtag Facts Must Fall Education in a Post Truthful World is very um, illuminating inside of this ethical approach. And then Wilby and Nasser wrote Bridging Theory and Practice, Mixed Methods Approach to Instruction of Laws and Ethics Within the Pharmaceutical Sciences. Even though that deals with pharmaceutical science, it's easily applied to education and inside of instructional design. I hope you appreciated this presentation. If you have any questions, again, go back to the references there for pinpoints and also the Bible verses within the presentation. Thank you.